Hello, everybody. As some of you know, my name is Kalista, and for those who don't, hello. Today I have the great honor to introduce one of my best friends, someone I would even consider to be my sister. I got to know Castle back in Miss Langley's 8th grade advisory, and of all the things that we could have bonded over, we bonded over Riverdale. We spent the whole year singing all the songs and talking about each character. And as the years went by, that bond grew even stronger. From birthday parties to seeing A Star is Born to even forming our own virtual band, Castle has been there for me through it all. One of my favorite memories with Castle is for the last 2 years, she and I go to a Dolly Parton birthday party. We try to dress up as much like Dolly as possible and help out during the event while also having tons of fun. Another great memory is whenever we go to a school dance, whether that be homecoming or cotillion, and hopefully prom, Castle has these high heels that she puts on and refuses to take off until the end of the night, even if her feet are absolutely killing her. And lastly, one of my favorite moments with Castle is whenever she's just being herself. That could be her talking about her love for the Runaways, or the Mamas and the Papas, or her just joking to our friend group, or sending us pictures of her adorable cats. She's a trustworthy and amazing individual who I know will go far with whatever she does. We may not be going to the same college next year, but I know that if we can make it through a global pandemic and grow even closer, then we can at least last 4 more years wherever we end up. I could write an essay about how amazing this girl is and all of our funny moments, but y'all would rather hear her wonderful speech that she's about to give you. So, without further ado, may I present my best friend, Castle Smouse.
Hi, my name is Castle Smouse and I'm a senior at the Ann Richards School. Today I'm going to be talking about the impact that music has made on my life. For as long as I can remember, music has always been a huge part of my life. From listening to my dad's radio show where he would play everything from country music to surf, to DJing shows with my dad, to substituting for other programmers at the radio station. When I was a kid, I would sit in my room playing with my dolls and listen to my Beatles CD, which I played so many times it barely plays now. Since I was 2 weeks old, my parents have been taking me to hear and experience live music. They always thought music should be an important part of my life, but I don't know that they ever knew how passionate I would become about music. 2 years after we moved to Austin, I started taking piano lessons when I was 5 years old. My first teacher, Miss Kay, who was endlessly patient with me and so wonderful, is still my teacher today. A few years after I started playing piano, I developed an interest in playing the drums. Fortunately, Miss Kay's husband is a drummer, and I began taking lessons from Mr. Art, who has taught me so much. I even learned how to play ukulele with my mom, and we ended up performing with the Austin Ukulele Society at all sorts of events for several years. I always enjoyed playing my instruments, but as I got older and realized how important practicing was, I made it a priority. During quarantine, I started to teach myself guitar and began to practice my piano and drums constantly. I saw a lot of improvement, especially on the drums. I also had started to develop a more unique taste in music, which affected my musical journey and also affected my own personality. When playing your instruments becomes second nature, that's when you can really start to express yourself through your music. Finally, discovering the music I loved made me want to play music all the time. In the summer of 2019, I went to a movie theater and I saw the film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. My mom and I had been anxiously awaiting its release all summer long. As we watched the film, I was mesmerized. I was transported to 1969 Los Angeles and I wanted to stay there forever. After I saw it for the second time, I went home and listened to the soundtrack. The first song I listened to was California Dreamin' by the Mamas and the Papas. It was unlike anything I had ever heard before, so I decided to listen to more of their music. I read all about the band and its members. Cass and Michelle quickly became my favorites. As time went on, I researched as many resources about their history as possible. I listened to all their songs and watched any video footage I could find. I read the stories behind the music and discovered a whole new world of music. In January of 2020, I saw the production A Night with Janice Joplin at Zach Scott Theater. Growing up in Austin, I don't think anybody could say they didn't know who Janice Joplin was. Austin has multiple memorials and murals dedicated to her around the city, and I always appreciated seeing her honored in that way. However, I hadn't really listened to much of her music and I didn't really know anything about her life. After I saw the show, I was enamored with Janice. I learned about her life, her music, and what made her a unique woman. When people watched her perform, it was an otherworldly experience. You could tell that she was singing with her entire soul and being. She felt music deeply and passed that along to her audience, which made her so special. Last July, I was playing my drums and I pulled out my Joan Jett CD and played along to a couple of songs. I paused my CD player and looked up Joan Jett on the internet. I knew who she was, but I only knew her big hits and that she was a rock star. I read about her and about her first band, the Runaways. Immediately, I was very impressed by them. These were teenage girls, just like me, in the 1970s who were one of the first all-girl rock bands. People told them, girls can't play rock and roll, but they didn't care. They defied expectations, endured hate and sexism, but opened the door for women in rock and roll. I really admired the Runaways for changing the standards for women in the music industry. I especially looked up to Joan, as well as Sandy West, the drummer of the Runaways. I decided then and there that I was going to start an all-girl rock band. I'd tried to start a band a few times before, but nobody was really as serious about it as I was. This time, it didn't take long to get everyone together because somehow everyone was in the right place at the right time. Since we can't see each other in person right now, I had the idea for us to do a remote recording of one of the Runaways songs. We chose the song Queens of Noise. I first recorded my drum part and sent it to the band so they could record their respective parts of the song. I edited our parts together along with other parts I had recorded, including the second harmony and the accompanying hand claps. Altogether, we had 12 tracks, and I did all the editing and sound mixing, for which I didn't have a lot of experience, but it ended up sounding very good. And we also received positive feedback from professional musicians. I'm hoping that this summer we will be able to practice and play together a lot more as a band. That wasn't the only music that I've collaborated with people on virtually. I've been in youth choir at my church since I was a freshman in high school, and before the pandemic, we would practice every other week. We couldn't really have practice over Zoom, so my church's music director, Mr. Reed, asked our youth choir members to record our parts for a song to be played at one of the virtual or distant services. This led to Mr. Reed asking me to collaborate on some music with one of the adult vocalists by playing the drums for the song, which was also presented to the congregation during our distance church services. Making music with other people this year may have been different, but it has made me a better musician and challenged me to learn new skills. Like most of us, I really wasn't expecting anything like what we've experienced this year, but I'm really grateful for the positive things that have come out of what has not been an easy year. All of this has been very influential for my musical journey. I've made so much improvement with my instruments and found passion and inspiration in my favorite artists. I'm even giving drum lessons to other students now. I really appreciate my music teachers who have believed in me every step of the way, as well as my parents who have always encouraged me to learn and continue to play music. I'm also so grateful to have been able to attend a school which offers a daily affirmation of what women can accomplish in this world. To me, this means that there is no limit to what I can do with my music. To Cass, Janice, and Sandy, who I wish were all still here today, you have left legacies which will live on forever. One day I hope to meet Joan and Michelle so I can tell them how much their music means to me. All of these things and more have made me into the person and musician I am today.